Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here then welcome. My name is Evelyn. Today's video is a fun one. I have some DIY home decor ideas, and all of these items that I am going to be DIYing you can find at home, so they are very budget friendly and super easy. I did something similar for Walmart where I transformed Walmart decor into high-end decor, so this time we are going to be transforming at-home decor into high-end decor. It's also a very exciting collab with my best friend here on YouTube, Jenna's Home, which I'm sure you have all heard of her. I also have a podcast with her and Kenzie, so if you do want to check that out, I will have it linked down below. We will be coming out with an episode 2 very soon. But Jen and I were chatting on Instagram, and we both mentioned that we picked up the same vase from at home to DIY. So we were like, what do? We both have the same DIY idea, and we thought, why not just make a whole DIY home decor video and collab and do different categories. So we will be doing 4 different DIYs. We have one with the vase, one with textured spray paint, a McGee Co item, and an Amber Interiors item. So I will have her video linked down below so you can go check it out, show her some love. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get started with today's video. So for the first DIY, we are going to try to recreate the vintage rice wine jars that we see trending in the home decor world. They do range in price, some are very expensive, and I have seen some more affordable ones on Amazon and also at Home Goods. But I did take a trip to At Home, and while I was there, I saw this amazing dupe. It looks almost identical to the one that is vintage. It has the same ridges, the same shape, everything looks the exact same. All it needs is a different color. The beige one was $29.99, and they also had a smaller size in case you already have the larger one and want a smaller one to pair it with. They did have the smaller one for $19.99. I of course wanted to share how you can transform this plain vase into the popular rice wine jars, so I mixed brown paint, this one I believe I picked up from Michael's, and also green paint that I picked up at Walmart. I don't think it matters which brand you use, just as long as it's brown and green paint. I did mix those two colors together until I was happy with my color, which was like an olive brown. I painted the entire vase. I did attempt to leave some spots without paint to make it look distressed, but I felt like it looked more unfinished than it did distressed, so I ended up painting the entire thing, and then in the end I did scrape some of that paint off instead. Don't forget to also paint the inside, that way it looks more authentic. And since the paint dries to a matte finish and most of these jars are glazed, we do need to add some glaze to the vase. I used this glaze spray paint. I have also used a glaze paint before in other projects if you want to use that instead. You can find either at Michael's or Amazon. I did do 2 very good coats of the glaze spray paint. I basically finished the entire can of spray paint. As I mentioned earlier, I did want to give this vase a distressed look, so I first went in with some creamy white paint to recreate some small chips on the vase. I then noticed that most of these jars are chipped and distressed on the bottom, so I started scraping some of the paint off with some scissors I had on hand, and I lightly scraped off the ridges and also on top of the vase. Once I was happy with how I removed some of that paint, I made sure to wipe it all down to remove all of the excess paint that came off, and I'm honestly blown away by how authentic this rice wine jar looks. I did style it on my console table with some Amazon stems, and I'm just really happy with how it turned out. Next up is a McGee Co item, and I chose to recreate this stunning wooden book display that retails for $149. Very pricey, but while I was at home, I also spotted this book display, and it has a very similar shape and cut to the McGee Co one. This one is only $19.99, so a fraction of the cost. The only thing is that this one is a lot more orangey, and the wood throughout each piece is very different. Some parts have yellow, some have green, and it's just very different. It's not the prettiest wood color, so I took it home and we are going to transform it into the designer one. My plan is to do a tan wash on it, so before I do that, I wanted to lightly sand everything, that way my paint sticks on. I also really liked how the sandpaper created somewhat of a grain and texture that resembles wood. Before we move on to the next step, make sure you wipe all the dust off on the pieces as well as your table, because we don't want any dust sticking onto the paint. So make sure you wipe all of that off. Now for the paint, I used Territorial Beige and Linen. I mixed them together to create a light tan color, and I also added a bit of water to make it more runny since this is going to be a tan wash. I applied the paint to the wood and decided to switch over to a larger paintbrush, and I think it made it a lot easier to apply and get the texture I wanted. It creates a more brushed look like the McGee Co one. You are going to be applying the paint everywhere, but making sure you are always painting in the same direction, preferably in the direction of the wood grain. Try to blend all the strokes together so that it looks seamless. Once the first coat was dry, I did go in with a second coat. I didn't want the orange wood to peek through, and when I applied the first coat, I noticed that the color and the wood was blending together and creating kind of like a pink undertone. So the second coat definitely helped me achieve the look of the designer one, which is kind of like a light brushed look. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. So definitely recommend doing 2 coats and making sure that you are painting in the same direction every time. from Amber Interiors, we are going to recreate this stunning incense holder I spotted recently. I wanted to add this to my cart, but $84 for an incense holder sounds like a lot. I was on the hunt for a small trinket dish I can use to DIY it, and I found the perfect shape and size at home. It was only $3.99. This little bowl did have some ball feet, but I figured I could remove them, and with a little finessing they did come off. I had to continuously bend them back and forth to sort of loosen them and then put pressure towards one side and they popped off. The only problem is they do leave a tiny hole, but I was able to fix that with some dry decks. I just put my finger on the back of the hole and applied some dry jacks on top, and it filled in the hole perfectly. The original incense bowl is made out of terracotta and seems to have dimensions, so I'm going to be working on layers of paint to try to achieve that look. I'm first going to go in with a black color similar to the bowl that I got, just to get the texture I want first. I went in with a brown color, creamy white, and black. I mixed those two together, that way it wasn't a stark black. I also added some baking soda. Adding this is what's going to give you that terracotta look. It makes the paint thicker and more grainy, so it makes whatever you're painting look like pottery. So I just added that all over the bowl, and I made sure to paint in a direction that would look like it was handmade. For the next layer, I'm going to be adding a warmer terracotta paint. This one is territorial beige. I mixed it in with the previous color and brushed it on. I didn't fully cover the bowl this time. I wanted some parts of the first color to peek through, so I just did light brush strokes. That way that black is peeking through, adding that dimension that we want. For the last layer, I noticed the original one had some burgundy red undertones, so I went with burnt umber. It's a brown that has those similar undertones. Again, I did a light layer having some of those previous colors peek through. I also decided to paint the bottom of the bowl the same color. You don't really see the bottom of the bowl, but I wanted everything to look cohesive. Once everything was dry, I wanted to add some more dimension, so I went in with a little bit more black. I added some soft lines and used both the brush and my finger to blend it out. I feel like this added more dimension and made it look more handmade. I bought this pack of 3 incense burner holders on Amazon. They were $6.99, and it's nice because you get to pick which one you like the best. I went with the one that gave me a similar look, which is the one with a bunch of little holes, but I also really like this other one that had a very unique shape. I did decide to use some Gorilla Glue to glue it on, but if you want to constantly be switching them out, you might get away with just placing it on top of the bowl, but I wanted it to be very secure, so I did use some Gorilla Glue to attach it. I styled it on a tray next to some bucks and a vase, and I did buy some incense sticks from Amazon. They are a brown color which matches my aesthetic, and to use these you just light up the incense stick and then you blow it out and it just starts to kind of burn down on its own. So I really like the vibe of this. It's very beautiful and I didn't have to spend $84. Last but not least, we are going to be using textured spray paint to recreate a beautiful vase from Amber Interiors. It's the Luna vase that is currently sold out and retails for $150. I see Amber Interiors constantly using this vase on her Instagram page, and of course I found a similar one from At Home for $24.99. It has a similar shape and those same handles. The only thing missing is this little ridge that it has in the center. To recreate that, I just used a shoelace I had and glued it onto the vase using some Gorilla Glue. I wanted it to look thick, so I did do 2 layers of the shoelace. Now we can go in with the textured spray paint. I purchased this from Lowe's. It's a beautiful brown color, similar to the original vase. It also provides some texture, which is what's going to give us that designer look from the original one. I let the first coat fully dry and then went in with a second coat the next day. This will need 2 coats since it doesn't cover everything the first time. You also have to let it fully dry or you will move the paint with your fingers if you try handling it before it's fully dried. The original vase also had some dimensions, so to add that I watered down some black paint and used a wet paper towel to dab the paint onto the vase. I added it around the handles, the rim, and some parts of the bottom of the vase. This gave it that vintage look that we are going for. With just the spray paint, the vase looked a little too new, and by just doing this small, easy step, we were able to make it look old and like it's been around for years. I styled the vase in my kitchen with some real wax flowers from Trader Joe's. Some of the little flowers fell off, so I scattered them around the vase. I'm really happy with the outcome of it. It's nice knowing you don't have to spend hundreds in getting the same look. Alright you guys, that concludes today's video. I really hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to show Jenna some love. I will have her video linked down below, as well as our podcast of all 3 of us. I will also make sure to link all of the items that I used and supplies that I used. That way it's easier for you to recreate. And if you do recreate them, I would love to see. A lot of you always send me your recreations on Instagram, and it makes me so happy to just see that I'm inspiring you and you decided to recreate it. So make sure you send me your pictures if you do recreate them. Anyways, I appreciate all of you so much for being here and for watching, and until next time, bye everyone.